Yeah.
Joining us for the Grand Canyon Playlot presentation. So tonight, Louise and Felipe from Works and they're but they're going to be presenting to you tonight. So for those of you on Zoom, if you have any questions, just jump on the chat and let us know so we can get you filtered into the group here. And with that, I'll turn it over to these guys to take off. If you do have questions, let us know. Maybe the microphone so everyone can see.
Welcome. Thank you very much for coming out to this listening session on the Grand Canyon Playlot. My name is Louise Janney. I'm a stage architect in the studio, and Felipe is designers, and he is going to be leading in this development of the project. So just to do a kind of quick overview of how we work and how the process develop as we continue the design on the Playlet. So just as a beginning, all of our projects, we start with our community meetings and listening sessions, where we bring up ideas, we get pictures of the site, we collect all the information we can from users of the area, and get more and more depth about how the site is used and what's important to you. With that information, then we would go to start the concept sketches. And those are very loose in design development ideas where we add different configurations and we talk about all of the different opportunities and constraints with the project. Then we'll have those refined and we will bring them back to you. This is a, kind of an early 3D rendering of what this particular scheme might look like. So it's sort of next generation to explain what those three concepts might look like and the options you have within those. With the feedback that we get from that meeting, we would then go into a selection of what to develop for further investigation. And at that time, we start to pick out exact equipment, all of the different features of the park will feature. With the county's assistance, then we bring that final rendering and all of the elevations, sketches, the equipment, any information that you might need to make a final selection on that one concept. Once we've got that in place, we can do some other renderings that help describe in more detail what the project might look like. And then we go to construction drawings, which are used by the contractor to bid the project and get it built. So with that in mind, I'd just like to introduce him, and he is going to walk you through the process of what we've got so far in our listening session with you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. Before we jump in, can we jump the slides the one after this, so people online can follow along? Yeah, so the purpose of this meeting tonight is just to hear from you all, the community, how you're currently using the site, how you used it in the past, and how you may want to envision what it's going to look like in the future. So we start off with the site analysis. And so in this map, the top left-hand corner is just kind of general overview of White Rock. I'm sure that footprint. Number 1 is going to be Pinion Park. Number 2 is Pinion Elementary. And then 3 is Rover Park. And 4 is the Overlook Park. So just kind of grounding you all where we're situated compared to the rest of the parks in the system here. And letter A is our existing Grand Canyon Playlot location. And letter B is something that we're just floating as a general, something to gauge your temperature if you're interested in it as a community, and possibly relocating the play lot closer to Sherwood Boulevard. Primarily, how this came about as an idea is just looking at existing site access from Sherlane Place, the cul-de-sac that connects you to the existing play lot. It's a kind of tight, narrow corridor. Right now, the concrete is not in great condition. So one of the things that we'll definitely look at is making that accessible. But going back to letter B, potential relocation, we just see that there might be potential to have better accessibility for ADA users and just the general public to have it closer to that main road. But again, that's just a loose idea. If you guys don't like it, you'll let us know. So yeah, that is the slide. Move on to the next one. And this is going to be a closer look of our site analysis of the existing play lot. And so number one is the cul-de-sac that connects you to the pedestrian path that gets you to the playground. And you'll kind of notice we've got these different labels corresponding with the photos, just to help orient you to where each photo is taken. So yeah, as you can tell, and maybe you already know, the play lot has been there for a while. The play equipment has gotten a little old, so we're looking at potentially revamping that. Want to hear from you all what kind of activities you're interested in, what you think kids would like. If you're interested in, improving the picnic area or just anything else that you guys are inspired to do here. One thing that we'll have to do is improve the play surface. So right now it's a sand lot with current just regulations around playground design. Sand is no longer an acceptable play surface. It doesn't have the right like fall impact absorbency to dissipate falls. So that's something we'll definitely look at remodeling there. And if we go to the next slide. This is the potential new location, as I mentioned. We went out there when we did our initial site visit. It's about a 10-minute walk along that. I think it's the White Canyon Rim Trail. And it's about a 10-minute walk to this street. And when we were there, we just noticed that, yeah, again, it's closer to the road. It might be better for access, but also the experience of being there, it had a better view of the mountains. It wasn't as kind of confined and pushed up against the neighbors' backyards. So it felt a little more open and a little less kind of dominated by that neighboring fence line and the power lines. So I think there's some potential benefits of potentially locating here. Another thing to note is that there's a lot of nice existing mature vegetation on the north and the south side of the site. So you get a nice buffer from that south sun, and that's also just providing a visual buffer to the neighbors' backyards. And another interesting thing is we noticed this old trailhead sign. Didn't have time to go investigate where that trail went. I'm not sure if it's still in the county's system or not, but just another opportunity to kind of lean in to that aspect of the site and again have kind of better access for this trailhead and improve what's there in terms of the trail signage. And it might be another opportunity for people to get into that trail system. Well, do you have anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, I think the county didn't really ask us to look at the second site. but it did seem that a lot of opportunities were presenting themselves with that. People could park, we could establish some parking. So more, visitors could, access the site. And, we could also do, we had some opportunities to create different types of trail systems associated with this park, as well as the playground, and, have a more universally accessible kind of, a little bike loop in that area as well. So, if you were using like a tricycle or adapted bike, there's an opportunity to set up a little course there, or, BMX, something like that. So it gives just, a lot of opportunities that maybe don't present themselves at the other location. So this might be an opportunity to look at some different types of uses, and get more out of your public space. So, we really do, kind of need to get a lot of, your feedback on whether you'd like to have it in the same place, or you are open to looking at this other, location. So, that will determine, a great deal about what we do with the next step forward. And with that, I would open it up to questions, comments, anything from us?
Um, my question is actually very narrow. And, do you envision having the play lot lit after dark? In other words, installing lights?
It's not currently lit, and unless there was some, real desire from the community to light it, it would not add that.
Well, the reason I'm asking is, if lights already come on, there's a county development code that has an outdoor lighting section. So that regulates outdoor lighting, so they have to follow that in lighting design. Another thing is, I think it doesn't say in in this kind of setting, it doesn't say how bright the lights can be. And I noticed, for example, in Overpark, the lights are installed, they're actually quite good, they're shielded. However, they're too bright. And, so there are only a few lights, and there's some around the bathroom too. The issue there is that it's not very safe, because if you're lights, and experience this one with start one this fall, is if you're walking towards the light, if you're away from it, you can't see, because the light reflected off the wall and the ground is so bright, you can't see where you. And the ground's uneven, so you block the light so you'll see. So it's just a matter that the light is just too bright for what it really for its function, and that it creates somewhat unsafe situation when we're in the lit part of the park. So if lights were to come up there, I'd like you to be aware of these issues. Decide which one is for. But if you don't light it, then
That's a good point to make. If there is lighting. If there is, lighting, it's a component that comes up. We would want to make sure that it was green lighting to eliminate pathways, and protect the night skies, dark night skies, if there was anything tall. So, there might, with the top lot being so, close to the neighbors, it probably sees very little use at night anyway, and we didn't change the function out there, there would be no reason to really add that in. If we do move it and it is a trailhead and, different types of uses, it may come up that some things need to be eliminated for safety. And maybe they are timed to go off, at specific times of night, so that it's not intrusive into the neighborhood.
So, just as a point of reference, so is the side street that's shown at the bottom of that map, is that Barcelona?
Sherwood is, the top one is another, and then the first. The one on the bottom.
Well, the top would be granted from this direction.
Yeah.
So Grand Canyon's here, and then
That is. And now that is below Barcelona, so I'm assuming that that's Barcelona. And. So, but a question about the proposed location, so if you could go back to the previous slide, and you show the bigger perspective.
yeah, too bad.
So as I recall, the portion at the top is.
Sorry.
So the portion at the top, as I recall, is designated county. The portion at the bottom is designated open space. So I just wanted to make sure that the proposed location doesn't go to the open space area, because many residents in the county would be upset about it.
Does not want to go back.
Yeah, so right now, a person or bike or what have you could come down Sherwood Boulevard. And come along that maintenance, some kind of a utility maintenance road. And then that accesses the rim trail. But there are also some littler kind of single track trails that are threading through the trees. I think those are probably part of that white rock rim.
And I might,
This trails. If you could see this map, there are a couple of side, like, minor trails in there. So I think people are using it that way.
My apologies, it does not want to go back.
might be mistaken. County GIS online map system, my understanding, this fence line here, and then everything below it was just open space, so I think there might be like a little carve out for the play lot, but even that might be technically an open space. If that makes sense, as far as zoning is concerned. But I hear what you're saying, that like, this is all natural hiking, biking kind of situation, is that what you're getting at?
Well, you said.
Yeah.
My reflection, so shows the portion, I think it's.
Just south of the road. Yeah.
So the portion closest to the houses
Mhm.
is designated as county property.
Mhm.
Portion for the bottom is designated open space, so those are different zoning designations. So I would just urge you to make sure that you're not going into the open space. Is that good?
And I think site B does take a little pressure off of the homes, that it's right, that the current lot is next to. So, yeah, so they do have, ready access from that cul-de-sac. But there also might be some, downsides to the playground right there.
Yeah, that's not my concern. I mean, it would definitely be more accessible, I'm sure is now, because you have to go to that small sack to get to it, or you have to walk down the dirt path.
What I'm hearing you say is you don't wanna see this developed. Right?
It's not my concern per se, it's a caution that many people get very upset, venture into designated space.
Yeah.
But there's probably plenty of space there to configure a playground with proposing it.
Yeah.
I just urge you to check the zoning about designations.
And building off of that. I guess building off of that too is there a question of maybe there is interested in, say, like, with the proposed location, there's an existing trailhead, the signage is obviously old, we wanna kind of, is there an interest in creating more access there without pushing into like developing open space, like doing it pretty much as minimally as possible? To create open space access, so it's less of a playground, more of like, what can we do to program more open space, like Belle said, maybe it's Louise, what she mentioned, like, is there an opportunity to have a adaptive ADA accessible kind of specific hiking route, because the grades there are so nice and flat. It's just there, we're all at the idea stage right now, so it's, you know, this isn't set in stone, this is just spitballing. And then is there more of an interest in, say, doing that and then focusing on playground improvements at the existing location? There can maybe be a tug of war there in terms of allocating where improvements and what improvements are specified or interested, the community is interested in. Yeah, and I think obviously the nice thing about the existing location, I'm curious to hear about it from the neighbors, how they feel about it being so close, if they feel pressure for, like, not pressure, but like having the proximity of the playground so close. Are they interested in having it further away, or is it really nice for folks who are close to that cul-de-sac to have that proximity? That's something that I think we'd be really interested to hear in the community. As well as just, I think having a better picture of how the existing play lot is currently being used will give us a lot of insight of the pros and cons of moving in either direction. So yeah, that's why we're out here tonight. Any information that the public can provide us, we're super grateful, and we want to steer the ship in the right direction, so.
One of our
Yeah.
online comments, site B would be more accessible. I like the ideas of moving it. I don't think many people know that it is even there. You can't see it from the streets nearby. Having it border Sherwood would give it more visibility. So just a couple comments from the online.
This one's Scotty.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scotty.
Also, we do have a survey available, and we would really encourage everybody that can to please take that survey. So it's a more comprehensive questionnaires about how the park is used and what might be used, and what features would be desired, or what's not working so well. So that will be a big component as well. So anybody that can spread the word about, you know, this park, we appreciate it.
So one thing I thought of, so FYI, the Union School is about a block and a half. So it also has a playground that would be accessible to the public after school hours. I don't know if that's a concern. Perhaps when the original lot was built, it was for, so it would better serve the people in that access. I mean, I've lived in that neighborhood for 43 years, and I did not need that existed. So we in school place. So just, I don't know if that's the best location for it. Is it too close to Pinion School? Just putting that out.
And I think as we move forward into developing concepts, if there is an interest of seeing, the other site, developed, then, we can maybe look at program for that location that maybe offers a little bit more diversity, from the school playground. So if the, features and age groups and stuff are getting served at the playground, maybe this gives us a location where we can add other features, whether it be picnicking, just access to the open space. There's, outdoor fitness. There's a variety of different, more adult oriented features for, that's. So we could also present that, in the assortment of options. Anybody else?
No, I provided a link to the projects page as well to online, so they could go out to the website and see that survey as well.
Great,
Since
thank you.
this isn't-
Wendy, do you have any, kind of sense from the county perspective on the question of relocating the park elements, or what park elements might be missing?
No, not this time. I think like you mentioned before, it wasn't in the scope of work that we issued out to you guys, so this is something that you brought back to the county as an additional option. And certainly we would hear back from the community members, the pros and cons, and get their feedback. They feel this would be an optimal spot to put the playground. Or like you said, would it be better some of these that helps into the system, so hopefully we'll get community input as we move to the process. Home, that's very.
Any more comments trickling in there? Okay.
Yeah, she just mentioned there's no parking at the current location.
Yeah, and I think in terms of ADA accessibility, it's part of the reason why it triggered in our heads it might be worth exploring location, just because you want to have a wheelchair accessible parking space. There's not really a place to put one there because the sidewalks aren't ADA accessible, just the way the sidewalk interfaces with each driveway. It's just that in itself would be a huge lift to make that ADA accessible, and I'm not sure if that would be within even Parks jurisdiction, because you're getting to roads and stuff there. I don't know. Yeah. Thank you. Any more thoughts in the audience?
If anyone would like to leave comments on the boards, have some sticky notes and pens over here. So if you're feeling a little shy and thinking of something you'd like to convey to us, please take advantage of that. With that, thank you very much for your attention. Appreciate it.
Well, that's not really a question about this, but it's about the process of the survey, for example. Well, this is not the survey. So how do you reach, say, all the way along with the survey? So that everybody knows about that this is as opposed to when people or randomly came across this on county page. Is there a way to do that? So that they're aware that this is happening, survey it through because they're opinion. Yeah.
Okay. So we do have the survey, or something. So the question is, how do we distribute the survey for this project? When we have the survey link on the Alamos County project page for this project. We also have it on social media, Facebook and Instagram. We are also going to be doing a press release, probably tomorrow, releasing that link to our media relations partners, so LA Daily Post, reporter, anybody else who decides to pick it up. And we did go around the neighborhood and leaked about 200 houses around that area about this meeting tonight, which provided a link to the project page itself. So we're trying our best to get word out. We've also left information out at both grades.
We'll keep the survey open for about 3 weeks, is that?
Yes, and the survey will be open for 3 weeks. If you have any other suggestions, we will. Well, nice, Jen, Scott, what's anything else? Honestly.
Well,
And- Mhm.
Done that, so.
And that was the fact that I was in the area. And if you live in that area, you know. Alright.
Also, something that came up at last night's meeting, we're also working on Dinosaur Park. Was to do a board and have it at the park that explains what we're doing, the process. It has the survey, QR code, and website information, any contact. So we'll also have a presence like on site. But I'm not sure really how many users are going to this site. Because it's so kind of tucked away, there might not be as many users now, but a lot of people in the area would be interested because of the different opportunities that are presented. So we'll use every avenue we can to reach people and keep people engaged and partners.
Nothing. Oh, now it works.
You can go forward, it's not backward.
So they, Wendy was wondering if we could talk to people about pros and cons of what they are seeing right now.
Yeah. That are just sincere, so well, it's just you the teacher style. Take some answers from you. So for the first current location, if you can spitball some ideas for the pros, we'll sort things down for the moment. What do you think the pros are keeping it there? Yeah, keeping it where it is.
It services a different section of White.
We need to have her speak into the microphone so that people online can hear.
Keeping it where it is would service a different section of White. Not that it's very hard, but just something to keep in mind. Moving it to a different location certainly would make it more accessible. One other question I have is there is a dirt path, it's not an official trail, that goes from Sherwood to the existing Playlot. It's sort of a dotted line on that. If you move the Playlot, will an alternate dirt trail be provided? Because a lot of people walk that, especially with their dogs.
We still provide access to current use.
You mean, the the link between, for instance, in that slide A to what we have called out as 6. The cul-de-sac? You mean that connection?
Just between the two dots, the old location, this new location.
Oh, yeah, that's a maintenance road. So the county takes care of that for the utilities that are all in that open space corridor.
So it would still be accessible. The playground.
Yeah, and there may even be some improvements to it if that's desired. I think one question is, what would happen to this little pathway that goes from the top lot now to the cul-de-sac? Would that be improved? Would that be brought up to ADA? If we move it, does it really matter? Is it just sufficient to at least get to the main open space trail? That's one question I have.
I guess that's really, I think, a question for the county staff. What are the requirements? If you have, okay.
So yeah, let's. Ask them. Yeah, so that's an area that we would have to check on. Is maintain streets division, so we have to bring that into the conversations now. But yeah, to me, if a playground is get relocated to a different, we would still have some accessibility coming from Hampton, so that makes sense.
That's like one of the cons that I experienced at the existing Playlot. I think I mentioned it before, but I was doing this exercise and say, is the proximity to the existing fence line, property lines, and all the power lines go above that. And so I feel like when you're at that site, it's actually I think it shows it kind of well, just how close you are to that condition. Yeah, I think it kind of draws your attention away from the views that kind of are there. The other thing I noticed when we walked from the existing play lot to the potential new location is you're kind of walking actually a little bit up. And so the view from the existing location isn't as expansive because you're sitting a little bit lower landscape and you're kind of tucked up against this fence line. Whereas the pro of the conventional locations, it sits a little bit higher up and just like a stronger view that you'll when you're looking at the homeland presentation. Yeah. And I'll just say like one thing I appreciated about being out there on the site and taking that walk is I didn't notice a lot of bird activity. It was just really pleasant. I'm sure that's a good reason for other folks to go out there and enjoy that in the sites.
Sorry,
Frozen.
yeah, I'm not really sure why. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so if you at that letter A, the top photo shows a good view of that's from this pretty much about from the street, looking to the east. You don't really see much of the houses and the power lines are kind of there, but like I said, there's a lot of mature vegetation to the north. And something that looks nice about. One thing I'd be curious to hear from the community is about how that access road was like during wet conditions. I noticed it it's almost, it's not quite rutted, but it's a little bit lower than the like vegetation that's adjacent to it, so I imagine during the rain and stuff, it's going to be maybe fills up with water, I don't know there if it's wet, but it seems, yeah, pretty clayey, yeah.
Right.
Watering,
Already.
watering. The community sees this as a good opportunity to do something fun and provide better access, whether it's for the playground or open space activities. Use this one anywhere.
So to share next steps for here.
Sure. Yeah, so next steps, like we mentioned, we're gonna keep the survey open for 3 weeks here. It sounds like there's gonna be a press release coming soon, so spread the word. The more information we can get, the better. And yeah, so from here, we'll get as much feedback as we can from you all, and then we'll move into conceptual design. So this is us actually putting pen to paper and designing things and putting things and spatially orienting them. And seeing if it fits or doesn't fit, and how much space something might take up as we explore play equipment or whatever it may be. And yeah, that'll take a good chunk of time. I don't know if we have a specific timeline, but I think in the future, as we move forward, we'll try to be as transparent as we can about what that timeline is looking like as we move through the process. Yeah, so after conceptual design, back to you all with those concepts, get your feedback, refine them even further, and then try to come up with a final design based on your feedback. From there, hopefully smooth sailing into construction and get it done. Thanks to everybody for coming out tonight, and thanks to y'all online who took the time out of your night to join us all.
All right, thanks, everyone. So I'm gonna limit to share the online projects page, so for you folks that are online, please make sure that you check back on that page, because that is where we will post all our information. So you can still share with your to try to get folks engaged, it's once it's supposed to be community driven, and get feedback and of course with participation, it's gonna really hard for us to gauge which direction to go next. So I think the surveys will be able to capture a lot of information as we move forward. So thank you for coming tonight, and we look forward to working with you. So, sorry.